And if you could just introduce yourself.
I play keyboards in Alice.
My name is Anna Maria, and I am the founder and vocalist in the band Vajra.
What was the initial start?
Yeah, so we all have pretty storied histories.
I was just bored during COVID. Did a little demo, put it out, and it was pretty well received by the community. And
always had a thing for horror punk and stuff.
Something that started with me and a laptop during quarantine, and just like, oh yeah, you know, all those times I said, if only I didn't have to work my job all the time, and now like I could have time to do that. Well, now this is that.
And if you could just introduce yourself, so we can let the audience at home know who you are, and we'll go from there.
I'm Christian Youngblood, and I'm the vocalist for the band, the Casket Kids.
Wonderful, and welcome. We really appreciate having you here. So to get started, why don't we talk a little bit about your band's history? How did it get started? Like, what was the motivation to write this kind of music? You know, what drew you to it, that kind of thing?
I guess what made me want to start it is I've always been a lover of, you know, the punk rock and, you know, heavy metal, you know, genres. And you know, I've always been obsessed with, you know, horror films and stuff like that, sci-fi stuff, and just, you know, like comic books, mangas, all kinds of things like that, you know. Where we're from, Alabama, North Alabama, you know, there wasn't a whole lot going on musically outside of, like, you know, like just select genres and stuff. Like the post-hardcore scene around the time we started was real big, you know. And it's like post-hardcore, screamo, emo, you know, stuff like that, you know. That was real big around here. And there wasn't a whole lot of room for a lot of other type of bands and everything. A lot of the original punk rock scene had died out, you know, like the bands that had really built the scene, they were gone. You know, there were like maybe one or two still left, like, you know, like Cancer Slug or Random Conflict. You know, they were really the only other bands around still left at that time. You know, I was just like, I want to start a band, you know. And
Yeah.
you know, I went to my brother and Bradley, and he was all like, yeah, man, that would be really fucking cool. He says, we're not going to do any of this other stuff everybody else is doing. I'm like, nah, I just want to take it back a little bit and add our own spin onto it, you know, thus the, you know, merging of like the old school rock and roll sound with, you know, the punk and, you know, the borderline heavy metal. You know, we just threw in the horror aspect of it, and there it is, you know, just all the things that influenced me growing up as a kid, you know. So
For sure, for sure. So you mentioned a couple of bands that you know, were a part of your scene that were kind of important to you. What bands, whether they were part of your scene or bigger, would you say like really had an impact on you as an artist? I'm going to make an assumption that the Misfits was probably one of them, but
yeah.
Aside from that, or even including that, like what were the big influences on you, whether they were local or whether they were like part of like the bigger kind of broader music scene?
Well, even though they were kind of, you know, long gone by that time, like Morning Noise, which they're making a resurgence now, you know, with my friend Robbie Bloodshed at the helm of that now. Or like you said, Misfits, you know, Glenn's band after that, Samhain, bands like Manimals. Let's see, I'm trying to think of other bands that, you know, really a big influence. I guess like Merciful Fate, you know, Pentagram, Black Flag, Kennedy, you know, Dead Kennedys, Bad Brains, Necromantics. I just have a whole long freaking list, you know, TSOL, you know, The Damned, Dead Boys, you know, just all kinds of bands, you know, that have influenced us to do what we do, you know.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I was going to actually say I can definitely hear the Dead Kennedys in like some of your guys' like style and songs. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like the cadence or whatever, but I was going to say that would probably be my guess as one of them.
Yeah. Well, it's that old school hardcore, you know, that was pretty pivotal in our, you know, and I guess our soup coming up, our mix, so, and like bands like Fear or, Cro-Mags and stuff like that, that's also, like DRI, Casualties, stuff like that, it's just all, we grew up listening to, so it's, sometimes I think it really shows through some, with the influences and everything, in our music.
Oh, for sure, for sure. You guys definitely have your own unique original sound, but what I'm just complimenting because like definitely when I heard She, right? That's how you pronounce the album that you guys have.
Yeah.
When I heard She, I definitely heard Misfits, particularly like it sounded to me like Earth AD Wolf's Blood era Misfits was like a big influence on that particular record you guys worked on, but it wasn't like a carbon copy. Like in my honest opinion, when I heard it, I genuinely said out loud, like, this is the sequel to Earth AD I would have wanted the Misfits to make. And like I liked the way you were writing the songs. I liked the melody choices you guys made. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to reach out and do this interview with you is because I honestly felt like that record sits nicely on my shelf next to my Black Flag, my Dead Kennedys, my Minor Threat records, and like everything else I've got on there. It's well produced and the songs are well written, but at the same time, it's got that just down to earth, raw energy that you can't fake. Like you just have to know it to hear it, and it's just real and there. So anyway, sorry not to like go too hard on that, but
it's all good. I love hearing stuff like that. Not to say that it boosts my ego, but but it, like that's what we set out to do, and just to, we wanted to pay homage to all those bands, especially the Misfits. It's just without that band or this whole niche genre that we do wouldn't exist. So it's really good to hear that purely out of just the ego. It's just like we get a lot of compliments similar to that, but not one quite like that. But
oh. So speaking of your body of work and everything, I mentioned the one album that I've been playing a lot recently, She. But you also have another album that you guys recently did that was called I believe it was This Machine Kills Humans. Is that a reference to the Woody Guthrie sticker he had on his guitar, This Machine Kills Humans?
Yeah, I would say so. It's like it's on the cover of the 5-song acoustic we did. It's got a werewolf playing with an acoustic guitar, and it says on the guitar, it says This Machine Kills Humans on it. So that artwork was done by a friend of ours, Mike Hall was his name. I think he sings or did sing. I don't know if the band is still together for the band Cemetery Static. Yeah, it was a reference to that and everything. That album, it's just a short collection of like 5 songs of a few of ours and a cover of Skulls by the Misfits. It was just something we did for this event that got canceled because COVID hit, the pandemic. Our friend Brian Burks, who does the punk rock art show down in Birmingham, Alabama, he had this event set up, and then everything started shutting down, and he didn't feel safe with everybody coming out during this pandemic and COVID being at such a peak and all that. So we all did this thing and socially distant punk rock art show, and we recorded it at my house, Casa de Youngblood. We recorded it there in my living room with an acoustic guitar, an acoustic bass, and a set of bongos. And me, doing my yelling and everything that I do, so but we decided to take that and turn it into something people were asking for it. So we were just like, whatever, we'll just put it on a CD and have it at shows if anybody wants to buy it. So
For sure, for sure. So when you go to write songs, what's that process like? Like how do you start? Do you start with the guitar? Do you start with the lyrics, an idea?
it comes in different forms. Sometimes I've already got the song written, or sometimes I'll be, driving to work or going to the grocery store or something.
Yeah.
And just something like just words just start coming to my mind or something, or, I'll get pissed off about something thinking about it, or, pissed off at another driver, or, sometimes, we'll just be sitting at the house or sitting at practice or something, and one of us be doodling around on a guitar, or tapping on a drum set, and then we're like, maybe this will sound good like this. Let's do this, and all that, just the many different ways, So
For sure, for sure. So when you write lyrics, I know you said it just kind of comes to you or whatever, but when you write lyrics to your songs, do you find meaning beforehand and then try and write about it? Or like I know you said like it happens different every time, but are there any songs in particular that you've either written with meaning or found meaning in later that like really stick with you?
well, like the song Demons All Dance at the one of the last songs on the She album. That song I wrote. It's like I came up with a catchy little hook and everything, but then I didn't have any lyrics for it. And I just remember watching this little cartoon when I was growing up, demons dancing around a big fire, and stuff like that. And I was like that, and I was like, that'd be cool as a song title, Demons All Dance, But then when I wrote it, it's very simple lyrics. Part of it is come and know, come and see, come and know, come and be, But that became something meaningful to me because people that don't, I guess, subscribe to the normal, I guess, paths in life, and people like me, people like the band, people like other people I'm around, we don't strive to be normal, we strive to be ourselves. And a lot of times when you strive to be yourself, other people don't get it. Other people don't know. Like they don't know why you're doing this, or, the point in doing what we're doing. And that's the purpose behind those lyrics, come and know, come and be, that's, you can't be something unless you know something, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just, living different, living outside of the norm. Take a chance, live.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I really like that. Learning that adds a layer of like depth to the songs and I just really appreciate that. And I'm sure the audience will too. So from, going from there, in the kind of music that you write, in horror punk music and hardcore, however you want to define it, what do you feel particularly makes good hardcore or good horror punk, however you kind of see your guys' band more, or maybe even both, if you have two different answers for that. What do you feel makes like a good band in those genres that like really sticks with you, that you listen to and you're like, man, I wish I had wrote that song, or I really like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what makes a good band is a band that, gets out there and, not caring, about whether you're going to be hated or ridiculed or, whatever for what you're doing, the music that you want to do, don't think about what other people think. Just get out there and do it, do what makes you happy. That's what we did, and regardless of what genre you're doing, whether you want to be in a horror punk band or, you know, a black metal band or hip hop band, rap, you know, house trap music, you know what I mean? Whatever you want to do, you know, don't be afraid to go out there and do it. You know, that's something we learned early on in our, you know, our journey as a band. You know, we didn't want to be like everybody else, you know, and I don't think anybody should set out to be like anybody else. You know, make your own thing. You know, even though a lot of people would compare us to being, you know, oh, you're just, you know, you're just another horror punk band, you know. It's like, you know, I think it's funny when people say that because it's such a niche, you know, thing. It's just like, how many horror punk bands are there out there? You know,
Right.
yeah, all horror punk bands that aren't trying to be, you know, that aren't trying to be this other band, you know, or be that band, you know, like it's like we've already got a Misfits, you know, we've already got a Blitz Kid, you know, we've already had Mr. Monster. A lot of bands, when they set out, they want to be a carbon copy of that, you know, like you were mentioning earlier. But you should always set out to not be that carbon copy, you know. You should always set out to be. It's okay to make music like that, you know, but it's like, don't try to be like, you know, exactly like that. Make your own stuff, make your own path, you know.
For sure, for sure. So since you guys have been playing for as long as you have, what bands that you have played with do you think deserve more attention? Whether they're in the same genre as you or not, what bands would you want people to go and check out, that whether they're local or, you know, bands that have been on tour you've opened for or that have opened for you, that you really think are something special?
I like you know, a lot of the local bands and everything. Like there's a band, they're a metal hard rock. It's hard to describe them. Their name's Atache. I like them pretty good. Their name's spelled, see, AATXE. If anybody gets a chance to look that up, they're friends of ours too. Of course, I'm always going to tell people to go check out bands like Morning Noise. Another local band from around here, Cancer Slug. Everybody knows Cancer Slug now. You know, Alex sings with Doyle from the Misfits now. So Sugar Virus, they're pretty good. They're from Georgia, I believe. Another band from around here, they're friends of ours. And the Go-Go Killers, their lead singer, Donnie Sharp, the Reverend, he was the lead singer of one of the first, if not the first, punk band from Alabama, the Knockabouts. And he went on to have, Monster Dog, and then on to the Go-Go Killers. Trying to think of other bands that, you know, let's see, we have Bloodstained Dusk here, black metal, extreme metal, you know, they're pretty good. But that's all I can really think of off the top of my head, you know.
For sure, for sure. You know, thank you so much for your time. Before we wrap this up, are there any places you'd like to send people, any plugs you want to do for your guys' music throughout the internet or anywhere else they can find you?
You can find us on Bandcamp at the Casket Kids Bandcamp. You can find us at the Casket Kids official Instagram, TCK Congregation on Twitter, and the Casket Kids 13 at Facebook. We have a big cartel, which is Casket Kids Big Cartel, where we sell a bunch of merch online if anybody wants to look into that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. All right. Thank you guys so much for staying to the end of the episode. I really appreciate it. My name is William Hamilton, and I've been the host of this episode of Heartfelt Horror. Heartfelt Horror is a podcast and YouTube show that I've recently started so that I could do something different with my free time. I am an amateur musician, and I wanted to try something different, so I thought I would look into becoming an amateur music journalist as well. I wanted to do this for two reasons. One, I wanted to learn from great bands, no matter how big or small they are, and you'll see lots of bands on here from a wide range of sizes and, you know, notoriety and popularity. I wanted to learn from these bands how they write songs and what I could take in myself as a musician and share that with all of you. The other thing I wanted to do with this show was I wanted to help promote these bands. Again, it doesn't matter how big or how small a band is. If I like them, I'm going to have them on the show so that I can bring them to you and I can help promote them. And I hope that you'll stay and watch this. If you like what we do, if you like, what you've seen or heard, and you want to support us and you want to help us grow, I would really appreciate if you would go to our Patreon. The link is going to be down below.